Ladies, if you're trying to find the right guy for you, rule number one, always remember this. Make sure he exists first. Welcome back to The Miracle Perspective, and this is the TMP Q&A Wednesday, where you ask and I perspectivize. I've got a question from this sister of ours who says, and this question is a follow-up to last week's Q&A, where we're talking about why do men cheat? So she asked this question in follow-up. Hi TMP, please help me out. Also because I was watching your previous Q&A, why do men cheat? You see, now I'm 27 years old and I'm looking for a man. But not just any man, I'm looking for the right one for me, because at this age, many girls make mistakes because you get so lonely when you are single at this age. So please tell me, how do I find the right man for me? And after finding him, how do I keep him? And then I got Mahlatsi Nkoma from Instagram. She's like, well, firstly, marriage has got nothing to do with age. It's a blessing from God. Secondly, a woman doesn't look for a man. She waits for him. I would suggest she focus on herself. There's more to life than marriage. While she's waiting, I can suggest she read books like The Wait by Devon Franklin, Relationship Goals by Pastor Mike Todd, and How to Make It Work by Tony Gaskin. They are very helpful for single ladies. And by the way, I'm going to put the link to the videos below. Check them out. Not the videos, the books. Check them out. And I think Mahlatsi is speaking from experience here. Thank you for the recommendation, Mahlatsi. I'll put the links here. You'll get the books on Amazon. So I was like, yes, thanks. I'll definitely put this on the video. She continued to say, she needs to relax and enjoy being single. Yes, it does get lonely, but oftentimes we rush these things that we even forget to live in the moment. Marriage is a lifetime commitment. It shouldn't be rushed. I know of few married people who wish they could turn back the hands of time. I also know them. Thank you for that, Mahlatsi. And then Kanelani Nkuna on Twitter, she says, in this case, sisters must just relax, because if she rushes to settle down because of time, she might end up with a wrong guy. In the meantime, she must keep herself busy and enjoy her singleness. She wouldn't feel so much lonely if she wasn't focused on how single she is. Deep stuff. Deep. Deep, man. Hey, Kanelani is on fire, I'm afraid. And then we got Mehleketo Joseph on Twitter as well. He says, cheating is a choice. There is no right or perfect person. We just adjust to compromise living with another person in our lives. If he is to stay, he will stay. And I'll continue to ask, you're right. Now this one wants to know how to find the right man and keep him, because she feels like time is not on her side and she gets lonely. What's your take on that? Mehleketo continues to say, well, there is no better technique to finding the right partner, since there is no right man, lol. But all she needs to do is to pray for a competent man. Deep stuff right there. Guys, thank you for your opinions, and thank you for your inputs to this matter. Very important. I don't take anything away from that, and I think they gave you the most perfect and appropriate answers. I just want to give you my perspective, and first of all, I'm going to start off by saying this is the most inappropriate yet very fundamental and important question to ask. Coming from a woman, how do you find a man? It's a very inappropriate question, if we are to be honest. But it's very important, and I commend you for the courage to ask that question, because you are not the only one in that conundrum. Many of your fellow sisters, our fellow sisters, are struggling because, you see, the body clock and the time issue is very important. As much as we are advised to not care about the time, more especially you women, as much as you are always advised not to care about time, your natural body and instinct, natural clock tells you that, hey man, you don't have time. And it's frustrating. It can get frustrating. I understand where you come from, and I sympathize with you. And that's where the differences in men show a lot. Because here's the thing, we as men, I don't know if it's a privilege, but it's just unfair in that way. Life is not fair. It's unfair because we don't have the innate responsibility. We don't have the innate characteristic of taking responsibility, unlike women. Women are born with responsibility built in themselves. They don't need to be told to take responsibility. They just take responsibility. Because at a certain age, their body tells them that, hey, wake up, you are awake now. When they become teenagers, the body tells them, bah, you are old now. And they start developing things. A lot of things change. They become overconscious about their bodies. They become more sensitive. They change. Automatically, they become women. Meanwhile, on the other hand, we as men, we don't have those huge physiological changes that prompt us to become man. You get what I mean? That's why back in the days, everything happened for a reason, man. And I think this generation feels like we're too smart. We feel like we are the cream of the crop in this world. We are the only things that exist, and we are the special cases. And we feel like we are woke. This woke generation, man, we feel like we know it all, and we don't know nothing. Our elders knew when they taught men how to be men, it was intentional, because no man can just voluntarily take responsibility. That's why we have the ability to prolong our maturity. We can prolong our adolescence. That's why you've got 30-year-olds, young boys, and I'm saying boys for a reason. Adult people, they're not even adults, but they're just grown-up infants. Young boys, very small boys, but their ages are huge. They are old in age, but young in mind and everything. They can't take responsibility. Because we have to be taught. Something has to push men to take responsibility. And that's where your frustration as women comes in. Because you feel like it's natural. That's why it's frustrating when a woman is in a relationship with a man who doesn't take responsibility, with a man who is not matured. Because now you feel like, why is this guy not doing what he's supposed to do? You as a woman, it's natural. You feel like this guy should be a grown-up. Meanwhile, on the other hand, this man doesn't see what you are seeing. He's young, he's a boy, man. He should be playing stuff, playing with cars. You know how we used to play with bricks, pushing cars back in the villages. Most of these old men should be doing that because they are really not old. They're young. Their age is just old. And it's quite sad. It breaks my heart because, and the reason why it breaks my heart is because I've got 3 sisters, unmarried sisters. They are looking for men, just like yourself. They want to get married at some point. And I look around, I remember I had a conversation with my brother, Michael Tabani, this one time. He was helping me out, giving me some valuable advice. And after that, I'm like, thank you so much, man. What you gave me is so profound, it's so valuable, I appreciate. And then he's like, no, man. I feel like it's my responsibility to help my fellow brothers out there because I've got a daughter. And when I look around right now, I don't see men that could potentially marry my daughter because of the surroundings, the culture of men that is being raised at this point in time. And I was like, shucks, bruh, that is big. I was also thinking about the same thing because honestly speaking, if I was to choose a man for my 3 sisters, I can't think of anyone. And that's painful. I really can't. And I'm not saying they're not there. For the mere fact that the ones around me, I can't pinpoint, I can't just pick out anyone and say this can be a potential for my sisters. That's dismal, man. It's gruesome because it shows that as a man, I can't have faith in my fellow brothers to take care of my sisters. Do you get how painful that is? And that's why I say I understand your frustration for why you are asking this question. And I believe that it's not because you don't get approached by men. You do get approached by men, but somehow and that's why you were so specific. You were like, not just any man, but the right man. Meaning you are approached by men, but you just don't get the right man. And that's the problem. Today's society doesn't have men. And the way we are socialized in such a way that men are just continuing to die by the day. And it's sad. We don't have male role models. We don't have good male role models. I saw this video on Twitter, man. It was very painful. I saw that. This young boy, man, I don't think he can even speak. He's smoking hubbly, bruh. And there's a group of old men around him, old guys. And they're busy shooting him a video. And they're laughing. This small boy is smoking hubbly. He's even pushing it throughout his nose, bruh. I pull it once, I cough. The guy is busy doing those things. And I'm like, wow. What are we doing? Is this the kind of generation we're raising? It's really sad. So, your question is important. But you shouldn't be asking that question. But you have to, because it's a problem. And that's why you see this thing of men not innately characterized to take responsibility is huge. That's why even the Bible says a man shall leave his mother and his father to go and cling on to his wife. Because a man has to be pushed. That is a reminder. Because if nothing like that was said to men, we wouldn't do anything. We don't mind going up to 50. Why? Because also our physiological makeup allows us to make babies at 70 years old. So we have no rush. Like naturally, so we have no rush to run into marriage or stable relationships. You get what I mean? Age doesn't push us to do anything. Age doesn't push us to take responsibility. That's why for men, what pushes them to take responsibility is inspiration. But not every man has inspiration, and that's the issue. That's why you see only 5% of the men are owning 95% of the wealth of the whole world. It's 5% of men. Those are the inspired ones. And then the rest, the 95%, they're busy complaining about the 5% because they're not taking responsibility. The issue is responsibility. We as men, and I'm talking to men right now, we as men need to learn how to take responsibility, and nobody's going to take responsibility for us. Because we've got sisters. Like I myself have a sister. I have sisters. I'm going to have daughters. Hopefully or not, I don't know. I'm going to have daughters. I don't know if with this current generation, I'm scared. Because my daughters won't have husbands. With the way things are going. We need to be better, man. And I'm ranting right now because it's serious. It's really serious. And because look, man, ladies, double standards as well. Your double standards are very confusing because you want to be independent at the same time you want men. And when you come with your independence, men cannot really relate with you because what we know best is to provide and protect you. But now when you come and want to protect yourself and provide for yourself, we don't know how to play a role. So the roles are shifted. We are confused. We get in a relationship with you. We just don't know how to act around you. Am I blaming you? I don't know. But the dynamics of relationships are messed up, man. I think we need more men seminars where we are taught how to deal with the current generation of women, because the way our forefathers did it, it's very different from the way we are to do it. I see from home, the way my dad runs his household, I don't think it's the same way I will have the privilege of running my own home. As much as I would like to, but the current generation and times won't allow for that. And we need men who are gonna see that and be ready to change and adapt to what is happening. The problem is that many of the men are stubborn and they're still holding on to their past while times have moved on. So we need to move on. The thing is, men need to be more flexible and catch on the current times and find new ways of becoming men in these current times. And that's where the trick is. And this is just to get you guys to think about what's happening. This lady is asking a very important question. Shouldn't be asking the question. That's why I say it's inappropriate. And to answer your question, my lady, how do you find the right man? The simple and straightforward answer is, Just be yourself. Forget about finding the right man. The right man will find you. How do you keep a man? Forget about keeping a man and just focus on being yourself and do whatever you can as a lady to make yourself compatible to any right guy, and the right guy will stay. That's the only way to answer your question. Other than that, we need to fix the generation of men we have today. If you guys love the content I'm giving on The Miracle Perspective, do the right thing. Subscribe, like, comment, and share the content. When you share the content, I get to reach other people. I can only reach other people if you share my content. I can only share to the people I have around me. So please help me out. Let me get the message out there. Let's get The Miracle Perspective out there. Subscribe. Come back again next week. Send your questions for the TMP Q&A Wednesday. We cover these questions. Any question that you want me to cover, send it through. I'm willing to cover that. See you next week on Monday, 9 p.m. on The Miracle Perspective. It's finished.